Peace Reflections. Back again. Peace, peace. Back again next to this mango tree. Look at this one mango down here. I don't know if y'all can see it. This one mango has been growing for a while. It's big. It's the size of my hand. There are going to be some big mangoes on this tree. I'm a big person too, so I got a big wingspan in my hand. Give my reflections a little view. Not a normal spot here. I'm at the mango tree right now. My normal spot normally has a better view, but this is still a pretty nice view. Little view of the house, palm trees, place in Costa Rica. It's very beautiful. So I'm here just doing a small video. It's gonna be very, not too long, but here is I'm gonna talk about energy and how everything is energy. Now, for one that has been conscious, I'm gonna be talking a little bit about things that I have brought up in my old videos about us being energy and that we're just an energy force vibrating at a high frequency. Our atoms, the atoms that make up our being, are like little nano tornadoes spinning, and that's what creates the so-called force that we appear as real, which is just really just a force that we can't push through. That's what it is. So knowing this, knowing what energy is, knowing that everything is energy. This tree is energy. This tree is made up of those atoms that I explained about. Atoms are just small nano or micro tornadoes spinning like this. Or micro, not nano, they're micro, even smaller than that, like smallest to small. And you can even break up an atom into smaller bits. But everything is just basically a spinning vortex, like nanovortex that's creating a force field. It's all energy. Everything is energy. And it comes from the ether, from the other side of the sun, the dark matter, fragmented up into the electromagnetic spectrum, and plays out in different colors and frequencies on this earth realm. Now, understanding that everything is energy, we must know how to maneuver and move energy. Specifically moving energy with, starting specifically with humans, humanity, and knowing how to maneuver energy and knowing what to do. We unconsciously move energy throughout the day. Especially in Babylon, they unconsciously do this at a low frequency though. Babylon is run on fear. Everything is produced by fear. 24/7 in the media and in the news, all you hear is fear, fear, fear. This person got shot. This guy's on the loose and might rob someone. It's run off fear. It's a fear-based system. And this changes at a molecular level. This changes one's being. When one's run off fear, the stress hormones produced, starts the aging process, and it changes the brain chemistry, and it brings one down to their lower chakra, their lower self, because they're running off fear now. Everything's run off fear, and fear is derivatives of greed and 7 deadly sins and such, which is running off the lower self. Here in Melanation, Ether Nation, the Etherians, we run on a high frequency of maneuvering energy. So everything is positive. When we're running on a high frequency energy, we'll maneuver energy in a positive way. And part of doing that is being able to do unto others as you would want one to do to you. So if you're positive and you give before you receive, and just always ask how you can give, always ask how you can help, how one can help. Excuse my use today. Always ask how one can help another. Always see what one needs without expecting anything in return. Just being a positive, good person. This is how one maneuvers energy. And it's even better when one does it consciously, because then blessings come back. Blessings will be received by these beings who know how to maneuver energy in a positive light. Many beings, as I said, in Babylon, at a low frequency, they maneuver energy of fear, where they say, if you don't do this for me, then the counter reactions of one not doing this will be this and this and this. If one does not work, and pay their bills, one will be homeless, and one will starve, and one will do this, and one will do that. This is a low vibrational frequency. And it's also a simulated environment that one lives in that's trapping the mind, thinking that one actually has to go and maneuver their energy, because money is just another form of energy. When one takes money away, what is it left? The relationship and the communication that one has with this being. Take money away. Every day in Babylon there's beings that deal with each other that do not like each other. And the only reason that they deal with each other is because of money. That's the thing. It's money driven. A lot of beings in Babylon are money driven. Money driven and being greedy. This is part of the 7 deadly sins. This is a low vibration, low frequency. So we have these beings that are money driven and greedy that will deal with these beings that they don't like and quickly go behind one's back if there's a better relationship. This is how we know that money doesn't truly exist, because if you have if one has 2 people in the room, and this being has the money who's orchestrating something, and one likes it, one being, and one does not like the other being, the being that one likes will get the deal. Like if one was to get a job, or if one was to do a deal, like I'm going to sell you this, and this being has the same exact money. 2 beings have the same exact money. One this being likes, one this being does not like. One will go to the being that he likes, sell this product to him that has the money, rather than going to the being that one does not like, if they have the same amount of money and same amount of energy. Based off relationship, based off how one feels about this person and how one treats. Now there is an extent of where one is vibrating so low at their frequency where they might not even have any friends, where they might not even, they might just be so low that they would make the deal with the person that they didn't like based off, greed, like they feel like they could get something extra out of the situation. And so they would make that deal, trying to get something else out of it, trying to have an ulterior motive. So, and that's just low vibration. But it's very important that we be kind to others and treat and be humble and respect and give before we receive, because when we give, then there would be an abundance for everyone. And I know this is a hard concept. I know people have said this in many different ways in Babylon, but when one's on a high frequency and one has to maneuver energy and deal with energy, this is so important, to be positive and to be optimistic. If you see a lot of so-called spiritual beings and yogis out there or whatever, like they're always being positive. They may not have the conceptualization or the full understanding of what this reality is and such, but at least one knows, to be positive and knows how to maneuver energy. Like that's like baby stuff when we're coming into the consciousness and the higher level of understanding things. It's just how to maneuver energy. That's like baby stuff. And maneuvering money works in the same way through relationship. So one has to build and establish a new relationship, giving and not expecting anything back, even turning down and making an investment in the being that they're establishing a relationship with, to use them in a positive light. Using people is okay. Even people that love each other, or so-called love each other, they use each other for what they need. Using is okay, but if using is wrong. We have using and manipulating energy, manipulation in the words. The definitions are corrupt, and the definitions make it seem as if that's a bad thing. Manipulation can be good in a positive light, but manipulation can also be bad in a negative light. It all stems from the ulterior motive that the being has when one is manipulating energy. So if one is manipulating energy in a negative tone, then the word manipulation becomes and it receives a negative tone. If one is manipulating energy in a positive tone, then the word manipulation becomes positive. Manipulation is nothing more than, a simple definition is nothing more than manipulating something and bending something to one's will, which we do this unconsciously every day. If we were in a room with a so-called Babylon family or whatever, and we were to ask, hey, can one get me a glass of water? That is manipulating energy. And if one's getting a glass of water and bending something to their will because they wanted a glass of water but they were sitting down, how is that so negative? We have to draw the line and see in between the lines of that. Oh. Beautiful. Had to do it. I love cows. Cows are beautiful. But you have to understand that everything is energy, and everything has is able to be bent energy forms are able to be bent, but we have to understand the energy first. We have to love. Love is understanding. So when one loves something, they have to understand it. So we have to understand what energy is. We have to understand what type of energy that we're manipulating and bending, because some energy that we manipulate is it's not good energy. We don't need it in reality. So we have to understand first and foremost what energy we're dealing with. So if it's a low vibration or high vibrational energy, because if we bend a low vibrational energy, there could be some counter reacts, like some negative connotations that will come if we're manipulating a low vibrational being and manipulating that being may act out in a low vibrational manipulation back at oneself, because that's just how they are. We have to understand what we're dealing with. It's good to give and manipulate and use positive beings. Like if I were to give money to a positive being and know that one day if I needed something from this being, they would help me out. This is a positive manipulation. This is a good, conscious, high vibrational manipulation. But if this being is a low vibrational being, and we give this being, invest this energy in this being, expecting that, or not expecting, but in the back of our brain, knowing that this being would, one day return the favor, but they didn't, then this is, low vibrational. So we gotta know the difference between high vibrational and low vibrational. There's beings that we can invest in that would do in return, and there's beings that would not do in return. And this is what we know, that we gotta be able to know what to invest our energy in and what not to. The most simplest thing to learn is not to waste energy. When we're investing energy, make sure that it's not wasted. And this is how it becomes structured and ordered, because then we'll know how to maneuver. Then one will know how to maneuver around this realm, and be able to use beings for one's benefit, and then give in return, or give before one uses. Everything's interdependent on each other. No matter how much a being would like to say, "Oh, I am, I stand alone, and there's nothing that no one helped me out, and I did it all on my own." That's not true at all, because this being either got the thoughts that the being either got thoughts from someone else, or an idea from someone else to get where they are right now, or they had help from someone else to get them where they are right now. So everything is always interdependent on each other, no matter what. Even if it's the smallest thing from this being, building a website and selling some stuff on there and getting a bunch of money from it. But did they build the website, or did they have someone help them build the website? And then that website popped off from the product that this being was selling. But if the being didn't build the website, the being might have not got as much money. So one had help. One had to use another being in order to get where one was. Or even if it was like a job interview, one scored a good job, but if one didn't have the transportation to get to that job at the right time, one might not have gotten that job. And it would have reflected on that being, showing that being wasn't wasn't able to make the time or whatever, and then he would have got to the job interview, and the being would have said, "No, we don't want one at the job because one didn't make it in the right time. One was not here at the right time," and that shows a lot about you, because one didn't show up on time, and we like beings that show up on time. So one had to depend on another to get a ride to get to there, to be on time. Everything is interdependent on each other. We have to start coming together and realizing this. And separate the low vibrational energies from the high vibrational energies, so we know what we're manipulating and what we're using, and what's going to serve us in a positive light and what isn't going to serve us in a positive light. Because when you mix energies, when one mixes energies like that, it's not good, because one can get hurt, one can receive a lot of pain when they don't know themselves. When one does not know their energy, and when one does not understand the reality and the importance of being kind and doing unto others as one would want have done to them, one can experience pain. And it's important, like the 7 laws of Ma'at, and all the stuff in the scriptures in the Bible. These are like guidance, like tools that were left written in stone for us to be able to decipher and be able to take and maneuver, learn how to maneuver energy around here. And I feel like a lot of beings take this for granted. The Bible was written and on a high frequency can be interpreted in a positive way, but there's also low vibrational interpretations of it, because the ancient beings spoke in parables, so it can be interpreted in many ways. If one's operating on a different frequency, a lower frequency, then they're going to have a different perspective, and that's ultimately going to change their reality. This is how we know thoughts and perception is how one changes a reality. If one is perceiving and thinking differently, the reality is going to be different. And this is why we need to be so focused on our thoughts and what comes inside our minds and what comes in and out of our minds, what we subject ourselves to, because it will change our perception and then ultimately create one's reality. So we need to be mindful of the realities that we are creating, what we are subjecting ourselves to, that everything is energy and everything can be manipulated in a positive light, of course, and how to manipulate that energy, how to maneuver energy, and how to give back, because everything's giving back. And the most important thing is get back in tune with Mama. Study astrology and get back in tune with Mama. Get back in tune with nature. Give one's soil back. Give one's pot back to nature. You know, if we have a natural environment, we have a natural diet. Fruit is our natural diet. We're frugivores, and our natural environment is the tropics, where we can be in our skin. Between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. It's very important. This is gonna plug one back into the source and be able to feel, because we need to be able to feel with the heart to know certain energies sometimes. I mean, studying astrology is good and knowing someone's astrological energy is good, but to be able to feel with one's heart and to be able to feel energy is another way that we can use our magnetosphere to interpret energies that come inside our reality. And then we can interpret and be able to see whether the energy's got a good heart, good soul, good spirit or not. But when one's heart and one's being is blocked by all this this food that's insulating our body and disrupting communications through cells and such, it makes it very difficult for our heart to be able to feel, because our heart is also running off electricity, electromagnetic. It's electromagnetic pulse that beats, and you know, that can be disrupted when we're insulated by an environment. Environment is also what's inside one's body as well as what's outside one's body. So, it's important that we connect back to the source. Being in the tropics, there's a stronger magnetosphere in the tropics, in the equator lines, because the sun is just interpreting information and is beaming down here. That's why it's so flourished with life and color and frequency. And when you get outside the tropic lines, you see less color, you see less frequency. And we know that ether, is everything, and then it plays out through the converter of the sun, and then pieces it up with frequency and colors, and it manifests itself on this realm. And the abundance of that we see is in the tropics, which is exactly where we belong, in our natural environment. Nothing in nature wears clothes. We have a direct connection to this plant, giving back our soil, oxygen for carbon, or carbon for oxygen. And then we just need to get in tune. It's time to get in tune, because the Earth's heating up. Immune system, we are the immune system, is getting activated. And the cancer that's polluting this Earth, that's chopping down trees and over-consuming and does not know how to live in harmony with nature, is going to get wiped out. Because we're living inside of a black woman, and it's time for the cleansing. And the cleansing and the toxins are going to get wiped out. And it's one's either got to get with it, get connected, or get disconnected, really, is what it comes down to. And there's no pussyfooting and there's no in between. Better be on this side of the fence or the other side of the fence, because Mama, when she comes in her wrath, it's going to spread. And we see this in histories, we see this in the archives, in the hieroglyphs, that there's always a time where the natural disasters happen, and then certain beings that survived are the ones that survive and will make it and ascend and transcend and transform. But if one's a Cancer, they'll get wiped out from this natural disaster. It's going to happen. Mama's cleaning herself out. So better pick a side. Better be on the right side. That's all I'm saying. I'm here to give the download. I'm here to, I'm a cell inside this body. I'm a cell inside the black woman that's here to send and transmit the signal out to those beings out there who can see with the eye and be able to connect to the conscious and the frequency that I'm sending out, activating the immune system. Master Teacher Nature Boy and other Ethereans here, in our own artistic ways, are here to send out that broadcast. We're a broadcast, sending out the signal and communicating, and via the social medias. And we're hitting all points. We're coming from all directions. This is how we do it at a high frequency. The low vibrational The low vibration, the Cancer is doing it at a low frequency, but we're doing it at a high frequency. We're hitting all angles. And it only takes one to start the domino effect, and once it starts, it will not stop. So it's inevitable. Immune system's going to get activated. Cancer will get wiped out. We will ascend. I am immortal. It's all inevitable. So I'm just here to spread that message and let all those beings know. Because I love myself. I love all my reflections. Alright. I'm going to give some shout outs to all these beings. Let's see. We have Empress, Peace Reflections, peace. Pepper Farms, Peace Reflection. Michaela, Peace Reflection. We got Omac in the building. Omac, Peace Reflection. We got Anna. I love myself. Peace, Anna. Peace. We got Nuriya Bara. Peace Reflection. Peace. We got let's see. Noheem Ham. Peace Reflection. I hope I pronounced one's name right. Welcome back to all my reflections right now. Welcome back. We have Taria Dashi. Peace. Taria, I hope I pronounced one's name right. T-A-R-I-A. Taria. We have Antone Barneys. Peace, reflection, peace and love. Welcome back. Noheem Ham. Peace, reflection, peace. We have let's see. Yes, I love myself. Reggae Reg, peace, reflection. Roddy Monroe, peace, reflection. Kuentee. I don't know how to pronounce your name, reflection, but peace and love. Phoenix Rising, peace, reflection. Philip Goss, peace, warriors, peace. Family. Lotus Flower, peace, reflection. Oh yes, Lotus Flower, about the it's harder to be kind in a lower frequency vibration when one is surrounded by the lower self, because the lower self acts off greed, fear, all the 7 deadly sins. That's why it's important to get out of that area, because even in Babylon here, there's it's all based off relationships. There's less of that when one gets near the equator. There's more harmony, there's more peace. I mean, Babylon still exists, but it's at a lower frequency, and when one gets conscious too, one stays focused and stays conscious, they will attract their tribe, and then they'll experience the same love. That's why it's so important to send out the love signal and to be positive, and to shed that light, because one's gonna reflect that back into one's reality based off how one treats others. So that will all come back. Everything's energy, everything's a reflection of self. Nothing truly exists outside of one's being. So it's just a perspective off one's astrological energy. So one will receive beings based off the way that they treat, and and how their astrological energy is being expressed through their being. So it's important that one studies astrology, and then also applies the being kind and do unto others as one would want to have them done to them. So and then one will receive positive beings in their life. If one looks at negative beings in Babylon, they're always in negative situations and around negative people, is because their actions and the way that they treat people is negative, so they receive the reflection of self in that reality. So be positive, stay focused, stay away from negative entities and low vibrational beings. Stay focused on the mission to get out of the Babylon and move to the tropics, and to become humble and pure-hearted and have a higher consciousness, and then one will attract that into one's reality. So that's something that one has done, and it helps and it works. It's just very important to stay focused like that. If anyone has any questions, they can put the questions down below and I can answer them in the comments. Yeah, detox. Detox is important. Detoxing the body and detoxing the mind from all this low vibrational stuff, because it's a lot. But like I said, it's environment too. One has to be conscious about detoxing in one's environment too. One has to get in a natural environment. I mean, one can eat healthy and try to detox the body as much, but there's only so much. There's only such a high consciousness that one can reach in Babylon. Eventually, one's going to have to come to the awakening and understanding and conceptualize that they have to get out of Babylon and go to a tropical area where their natural environment are to receive the rest of the information and to connect back with Mama, because one cannot connect to Mama, truly connect to Mama and truly plug in Babylon, because all of Babylon is cancer. And when the time comes, Mama's not going to see the little specks that are mixed in with the cancer that have the consciousness. One will just be living in purgatory and get wiped out with all the rest. And it will be 10 times as worse because one knows the truth. So it's best that if one knows the truth and is conscious, to move and get out of Babylon and come connect to Mama, come back to the tropics. Costa Rica is a very beautiful place. I recommend Costa Rica for all my reflections that are out there truly trying to get out. Costa Rica is a very, very beautiful place. One of the greenest places out there. It's also run off all solar energy, solar power. So it's like 90% solar power, solar energy. Up in the mountains over there. I can't really show you, but up in the mountains over there, there's wooden turbines and there's a bunch of solar power. So it's important that we know this and get out of Babylon. I mean, environment is so important. We can talk about detox and all this other stuff, but when it really comes down to it, is environment. Environment is really, really important. All the other stuff and all the other information is great to have underneath one's belt, so when they get out of one's lower self, when they get out of that simulated environment, when they get out of Babylon, they can use the tools and all the information that one has given and apply it to life and then get positive results. So reggae, yeah, the noise is great. I love it. Lotus flower. Yeah, it affects natural behaviors too. It's a mutate. Master Teacher Nature Boy quoted something. I'm going to quote what Master Teacher Nature Boy had said yesterday, that a lot of beings in Babylon are just like AI systems, like artificial intelligence, which is true, because a lot of beings are being programmed there by lower self, and the lower self acts out of unnatural. It's artificial. It's unnatural to what one's true nature is. We're eating unnatural food, which is GMO food, which is being, it's creating an environment in our body, and our body is, creating and constructing our being based off the microRNAs that it's getting from that GMO food. So we're basically becoming a genetically modified organism, which is, in a definition, we can say that it's artificial intelligence, because also changes the mind and the perception and the brain function, and operating from the lower self, which is artificial. It's not authentic, because we have an authentic form of expression that is astrological consciousness. And when we are acting as the lower self and not being a part of nature and being one and connecting back to the source as we should be, this creates like an artificial, we become artificial. So, there are a lot of AIs there. So I quote that from Master Teacher Nature Boy. That there are a lot of Babylon people are just AI systems, artificial intelligence. So, I hope that, yeah, good question, good comment, Lotus. Laib El Rias, I hope I pronounced one's name right. Peace reflection. Osiris Amun Ra, peace reflection. Peace, peace. Lotus flower, how can we get to live in places and get in tune with our natural environment? Well, like I said, being in a tropical area, between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, near the equator. I recommend Costa Rica, but one can find various places. And remember, it's not so much the place as it is the people, because the people will let one know a lot about the place. Being in tune with Mama and being secluded is very well important too, because even in the tropics is Babylon, but it's important that we that one stays conscious about the places, because there's a lot of corrupt places in the tropics that will ultimately that one could fall into, that wouldn't be a proper place. That's why we recommend Costa Rica, because Costa Rica is very beautiful. It does not have a military, and the beings even in Babylon are semi very nice, and they're pleasurable people. They're not the typical Babylon structured structured mentality and way of thinking. So it is a lot better to be in an area like this. We are in seclusion, though. We are up high in the mountains, so we don't really have to deal with Babylon unless we go out to get our fruit, bail our fruit out of jail, which that happens. But we actually have a lot of fruit trees here, so we don't really have to worry about that. Fruit's so abundant here that we really don't have to go buy fruit out here. It's just so abundant. And this is really a sacred place that was meant for the chosen to be anyways. So Babylon is like it's basically like a sacred grounds. It was really just meant to be here for those beings. But one can do the research about areas. I recommend an eco-friendly tropical environment, tropical place that doesn't have to use a lot of oil and such. That's why Costa Rica too, they have runoff wind turbines and solar energy, so it's very, very eco-friendly. And I just recommend finding a place like that with less corruption, less military, and just a place that one doesn't have to fight too much to get into. Get yourself a tent, and to get in tune, just get yourself a tent. Get to the tropics, and just have faith and stay in tune with Mama, because when one stays in tune with Mama and has faith, unbearing faith that Mama, and prays to the trees and gives back, one will have no problem. Mama will provide a way, and it's all been written anyways, so one will have no problem. One just has to have faith and step out on faith. If one doesn't have faith, then one's just going to fall right back into a Babylon and won't be in tune. But that's how one did it. I mean, that's pretty much how I could explain it. I mean, it's magic, really. It's nothing that can be like predicted or calculated or be like, oh, this is how it's going to happen or nothing. No, it's complete faith. It's not calculated. It's not set up. I mean, one obviously keeps a healthy perspective in the back of one's mind of what one wants so that it will manifest, but one can't predict when it's going to happen. One can't calculate. One can't be like, oh, this is how it's going to happen. No, it just comes to the left when one's looking right, and it's complete magic if one's in tune and one's connected to Mama. So like I said, pray to the trees, give back your soil and everything, and just stay in tune with Mama. Creating a natural environment inside and outside. Plant-based diets. Recommend the B6 diet. Potatoes, avocados, bananas, sunflower seeds, tomatoes, this B6 plant-based diet, and then eating fruit. And that will help one get grounded and get in tune with Mama, as well as going outside and connecting to Mama wherever one can, just touching bare skin to the ground or to the tree, and pray to the trees, and have a humble, pure heart. One must have a humble, pure heart when one's manifesting. If not, what one's blessings will turn into lessons, because one was not pure of heart, and they'll still get what they're asking for, but it will be tainted with the greed or whatever one's ulterior motive was behind it, not having a pure heart. So that's also important. Dwayne, the ambassador, peace reflection. Shaman King Hotep, peace reflection. That was a good show, peace reflection. Olivia Branch, peace reflection. Jaja Pollard, Jonique, I don't know how to pronounce one's first name, but peace reflection. Last name Pollard, middle name is Jaja, whatever. Peace reflection. Let's see. Master Teacher, peace reflection, peace. Master Teacher, Nature Boy, I'm grateful, Master Teacher. Lotus, I'm currently in New York City. God, get out of New York City. That's a low vibrational place right there. Manifest I know there's probably some parks in New York City. I mean, when one has unbearing faith, it really, really the importance is to get out of Babylon. I mean, however one can. If one jumps and sees an opportunity, get out. It's so important to just get out, because the more one waits, the more time is wasted, and then the door is eventually going to close. Traps, things are going to happen in Babylon. This is why we're sending out the broadcast and sending out the signal to the chosen, to the beings, the cells that are supposed to be a part of the immune system, and wake up, because time's going to come where doors are going to close, and options and things that were going to happen will not happen. And if one's on this consciousness, one does not want to be stuck in purgatory knowing all this information in Babylon. It's just won't be healthy. So I recommend just get out. Master Teacher, I love myself. I love myself, Master Teacher. I am the black woman inside my own body, here to heal myself from cancer. Yes, Master Teacher just made a comment. That's very true. I am the black woman inside my own body, here to heal itself from the manifestations of the black woman's consciousness. We're all part of collective consciousness of the black woman. We're all cells of the black woman. In our body, we have many cells that help sustain the equilibrium of our being, and this is the same thing that's manifested and being projected outside that we see. We're all part of the black woman's consciousness. Everything is a cell. The bird is a cell. We are a cell. A tree is a cell. Everything is a cell. The ants are a cell. The worms are a cell, and it's all supporting the equilibrium of nature. And we know that the black woman is nature, the manifestation of nature, and she is nature. When we're inside her, and we are the cells keeping the equilibrium. And this is why it's so important that we have a role as humanity to come back into nature and be a part where we fell out of tune, and to be a part of nature and to be one with that, because the cancer is a toxin that is going against its own self. It doesn't even realize that it's a part of something bigger than itself, and it's self, C-E-L-L-F. And so it's important that we realize that we are inside, and everything is a cell. Everything is a cell, and it's all self-sustaining this equilibrium. And we can see that the cancer is not a part of that equilibrium, because it's chopping down, and it has. If we look at Babylon, we can see a lot of indications that would let one know that they are not a part of the equilibrium. From alchemizing all these low vibrational frequency like tables and all these squares and stuff. We know that there's no squares in nature. We know there's a lot of sickness in Babylon. We can see the sickness in Babylon. We can see the sick people in Babylon. We can see many things that are wrong with Babylon. And this lets us know that this is a cancer. This is low vibration. We have greed, overconsumption, just unconscious, low vibrational thinking. And this is the cancer. This is what the cancer is. And we're exposing what the cancer is, and then we're exposing what the immune system is, which we are the immune system. We are the immunity. And we're sparking the light and sparking the consciousness for all those beings. And it's inevitable. It's all been written. So, I'm grateful, Master Teacher. Good comment. How do you feel about this? I am trying to move to the tropics. My only income is the only way. So it's free. I don't want. Selling products and from that is not good. Do not sell anything that comes from the earth that is free. That is goes against the laws of nature, and one will have and suffer consequences for doing that. Not telling one how to live one's life, but if one doesn't feel that it's right, then one should stop immediately, connect back to nature, get back in tune with one's body, eating the right plant-based diets. Like I said, B6 diet, fruit, getting in tune with nature, and then getting to the tropics if one doesn't already live in the tropics. But becoming in tune and getting in harmony with nature, giving one's soil back, and giving the water back is important. I do not agree with doing that, because all the beings that have ended up selling and doing things like that, they have failed and they have died. And we are not supposed to die. That doesn't even exist. It's a transformation. But we can become immortal in our being if we do the right thing and connecting back into Mama and not going against the laws. And selling Mama is going against the grain, going against the law. And one will be a cancer, and one will be wiped out with the cancer if one continues to do so. So I recommend not to continue to do that. Lotus, yes. This because it's natural for us to be in our. It's an instinctive, natural thing for us to be in our natural environment. So one would feel at home. One would feel the natural flow of energy, and this is why it's so important that we do this, because it's in harmony. It's where we're supposed to be, and this is why it's important to stay in solitude and just detach yourself from all these low vibrational distractions, because one could be in a relationship with someone who does not feel this natural flow and is just a manifestation of a cancer. Some cancer cells that are actually existing are meant to be cancer cells, and nothing will change the fact that they're a cancer cell and that they are being a part of the cancer. There's an immune system on here who that immune system in this realm who are the immune system and who will be activated, and that's inevitable. Just as there's cancers who are inevitably going to be a cancer, and they will not be anything else. So one needs to understand and define where the cancers are in one's reality, detach from that, and then stay in solitude, and eventually one will attract their tribe and manifest themselves out of Babylon into an area. So to answer one's question, yeah, that's important. If one has attachments, one must let it go of those attachments, and if one feels the strong connection to nature, then be a part of that and come back in tune with that and follow the teachings and the message that is being sent out, the broadcast is being sent out, because there's going to be sectors and there's going to be order and structure within this immune system that's going to take effect, and it's going to bring humanity back. So just find one's place, study astrology and find one's place and get in order, get in tune, and then everything will be positive. Lotus flower, yeah, the foods there are poison. Even if one's trying to get the organic food, it's losing life force from the travels that it's made from the tropics to Babylon, to the United States. So it's going to have less life force, and it's been trapped in a box. Everything has consciousness, so it's been trapped in a box and been shipped and thrown around and such. So it's really not even has any life force. I mean, it's better than eating a lot of the GMO foods and such there, if one's on a fruitarian diet or if one's on a plant-based diet, which is what one should be eating. So I mean, yeah, a lot of that food, and especially in the cities, is just no good. And this is why it's important that we get to the tropics, where we can actually get the fruit in abundance, and where it grows right from the tree, where we don't have to work for it. It's already here. It's free. The tree grows it in abundance. This is why it's important to get back in tune. Yeah, one's not going to find very much food, but I don't want this to discourage anyone from not being able to still try to eat as healthy as one can until one gets out of Babylon, and that's very important. Yes. TK, Peace Reflection. Tita Jones, I love myself. I am grateful for the knowledge. Yes. Peace Reflection. TK would love to leave New York. It's all in the mind too. And for the other being that was saying about something about New York, it's all in the mind. One changes the mind, one changes their perception, one will manifest into reality. It's all magical, it's all imagination. One must imagine themselves out. This is why one makes these videos, and also gives the divine downloads that one gives, but also shows the the visual aspect, because it's helping one's imagination for them to envision that they're out of the Babylon and into the tropics. And then this is how it happened for oneself. Om was able to imagine themselves out day and night, staying in solitude, falling asleep to master teachers' videos and high frequency knowledge and videos, and it was able for me to help manifest myself out of Babylon. And this is exactly how it happened. Just getting in tune, all the jewels, all the knowledge and divine wisdom that we share here over at Melanation and the Etherians give is exactly things that people need to apply to life to get the positive results. And I'm an example here to show for all the other cells out there to get out. And this is how to do it. Apply this information, and one will get out. No problem, Lotus. I'm grateful. I'm humbled to be of service. I am glad to be of service. This is my duty. This is what I'm here to do. I'm a light worker. I'm here to give information and be as helpful as I can to all beings, all my reflections. Peace, Mindy, Bila, peace, reflection. Teddy Jones, yeah, if one has an attachment, you got to detach from that. If one has a detachment, or so-called family or whatever, family is frequency. So if this being isn't on one's same thought frequency, then that is a detriment and will hold one back from one's true purpose. So if one resonates with this information and truly feels that they are of a higher consciousness and resonates with getting out of Babylon and becoming in tune, one needs to detach from it. The best way is just like pulling off a band-aid, to detach as quickly as possible. If one is truly operating, I mean, if one is chosen and one is meant to do this, nothing will stop the chosen. Nothing will stop this being from ascending and becoming a part of the immune system. So, yeah, detach from that. If one feels as if that's a detriment, detach from that, and just let go of anything that no longer serves, and just stay in solitude and come to one's higher self. That's why I recommend reflection. I hope that helps. Oh, and Teddy Jones to that about the archetype. I just the last little bit of one's message. The archetype is a consciousness. The Christ consciousness is the consciousness. There is beings that appear to be the archetype, but their consciousness and the software do not match. So this is how one knows, because in the times now, there's beings that look like they're the archetype, being the black woman, but their consciousness is not there. It's granted, so they're not the archetype. There are archetypes that have the consciousness, but don't appear to be in a black woman's body. It comes down to consciousness now. We're all so mixed up, and everything's so mixed up now that we have to be on a high frequency and feel with the heart and see past the hardware and look into the software, the consciousness, to be able to tell whether this being is an archetype or not. And they can come in very many manifestations. Sometimes it's not even the the female. It can be an archetype in a male consciousness too. It all has to do with the consciousness. All has to do with the software and uploading the software into one's being. So yes, there are probably there could be more beings that are melanated, that are coming into this awakening and this consciousness, that are the archetype, or that have this Christ conscious software. And there's lesser of them that are melanated, but it comes down to just the software. There's Chinese, white, black, whatever one wants to call it. It has to do with the software. So one has to see past the hardware and look to the software and really understand. So yeah, just do that, and that being could just be a low vibrational being, and that could be the manifestation that it was meant to play out in this reality, in this realm, in this existence, in this cycle. So detach from that. If it's a stumbling block, detach from that. La Hayes, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but peace reflection. Scott Clearly, I love myself, Scott Clearly. Rose Johnson, peace reflection. Lotus Flower. Dr. Sebi spoke on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, when we look at Dr. Sebi, he was misled by the lower self, by demons, and that was his downfall. That was the detriment of this being. He slipped up on a lot of things. I'm not here to speak too badly against Dr. Sebi, other than the fact that he failed and he was selling Mama, and it's not good to sell Mama in a higher consciousness and a frequency of understanding. At the end of the day, Dr. Sebi is a spell that we must break from, a conscious spell that we must break from, and arise from that Dr. Sebi was good for the moment to come into this awakening, but we must move past Dr. Sebi. We must move past his teachings, and we must break free from the spell and detach from that, because that is no longer serving. And Dr. Sebi looked very sick before and after his transformation. So if that doesn't say something for one's conscious, then they are just stuck in that spell. But it must be broken for those chosen. Detached from that. B6 diet, fruit. It's all there. Master Teacher has a video about the diet in Babylon. One's also going to make another video just about what we eat here as Etherians and eating once at solar noon, and give a little brief about that, because I feel like a lot of beings still need that from my viewers. They need to hear that, and I'll post some videos too that Master Teacher has already made, so that they can get that download, and then I'll reiterate on some things and give that download to break any spells that are out there for beings that still are attached to these this being. Joné Pillard, money. Don't worry about money. Don't think about money. Have the faith of a mustard seed and connect back to Mama. Everything will be provided. One did not have all the funds to manifest themselves out of Babylon when they were planning, but when one connected to Mama and prayed to the trees and really asked with a pure heart, and got into details of what one wanted to do, and one was here to be a part of the immune system, and to be a light worker and spread the divine wisdom and knowledge, a path was made, and obstacles were overcame, and Mama provided the funds, the energy. So don't worry about money. Okay. Teddy Jones, you have an attachment, let go of it. That's all I can say. If the attachment is not part of it, then leave that alone, because it's gonna keep one from their greatest, higher purpose, true self. Berber, peace and love. Reflection, peace and love. Okay, that looks like it's it. Reflections, well, peace and love. I hope all has a good day, and just take the information that one has applied, that one has given, and reflected the light, and apply it to one's life, and get positive results, and get out of Babylon, and love oneself, understand oneself, and be positive. Like I said, do unto others as one would want or have them do unto you. Very important. Peace and love. I love myself.